sign of Thanksgiving? Like, not the holiday, I'm guessing.
Thanksgiving. No, thanks. Or, you can do Thanksgiving. Open your hands.
How will you sign fruit of the Spirit?
Oh, good one. Yes, thank you. Good one. I have actually seen.
Looking for things to say.
No, that's awesome. That's good. The fruit of the Spirit. Well, understand the concept of the passage. And the concept is that if you have the Holy Spirit, your life will change and it will show the results of what the Spirit does in your life. There was a pastor for a long time who would sign it like this, like F for fruit with that. I tend to not agree with that. That's a little bit too English for me. So I just sign it proof of the Spirit. Proof of the Spirit. Even though the word is fruit. And I have seen interpreters, and this leads me to another thought too, but I have seen interpreters actually say fruit of the Spirit. It's like, no, not quite. So understand the concept. It's the proof of the Holy Spirit in your heart. Which leads me to another biggie. And I thought of this, it popped up. How would you sign in a church setting salvation? Salvation, it's not safe, right? Okay. That's the general worldwide accepted sign. But salvation, now, if you ask a deaf person, they'll give you a look like, no clue. Really no clue. It means safe. Safe from what? Saved for what? Here we go. And there is so much in a deaf spiritual world, this big thing about salvation. And many times, and this goes back to many years where the deaf have been just kind of tucked away. And I actually have a person in the church who, when he's 71 now, but when he was like 12, 13, or 14, somebody grabbed his hand, brought him to the altar. He saw the pastor saying something, no clue what it was. And later, his mom and dad said, "You're saved." It's like, okay. So he went back to church, and he tried to ask the pastor, what does that mean? And the pastor handed him a book. He said, and he said literally, read this. It was a hymn book. It was a song book. And he said, all this time I thought the song book was the Bible. And I my heart's just going, my heart's just melting at this point. And I said, no. But that's the example. That's what happens. I know of another person went to a church, and there were two sets of twins. This person was one person of this two sets of twins, 1/4 of this two sets of twins. The other three, you do it like this. The other three, do it like this. These three are hearing. They went to camp together. This one is deaf. Okay? The camp pastor did an altar call. These three got up and went down. What did the deaf person do? Joined right in. Didn't know why. Nobody ever explained it to her. See? And later, that person comes back into a church setting, starts having an interpreted church service with no clue what's going on. So you'll see, and I was preaching a funeral for a deaf person, and I literally stopped because I heard the voice interpreter, and the sign that I use is Jesus is the one who died on the cross for me. Okay, that's salvation. But the voice interpreter, the voice is still bothers me. The voice interpreter says, we need to recruit people for Jesus Christ. And I literally stopped and with my voice said, that is not correct. And I didn't mean to embarrass her, but I had to correct that right then and there. And it bothered me, and it still bothers me. And I hear it once in a while that we recruit people. And it's like, no, we don't. You know? So that's my heart. That's my passion, is I want deaf people to understand that these things, when there's, maybe some of you know, and I'm going to not break a confidence, but some of you maybe know Christian Hamby in the wheelchair, you know, muscular dystrophy, you know, stuck, and he's gone to several different churches who just don't know what to do with him. And he's come to our church, and he came in and he sat down and he says, I'm really ready, I'm done. And I was able to just sit with him, and Sue was sitting right there, if you know Sue, his grandmother. Sue was sitting right there, and she's given me permission to use this story as an example, so it's okay. But, you know, sitting right there, I said, Christian, do you trust me? Yes. Do you trust God? Yes. I said, okay. I said, when you go to heaven, when God calls you home, you're going to stand up out of that wheelchair, and you're going to throw it away, and you're going to run into heaven, and you're not going to stop running until you reach the other end. I said, how far is heaven? He says, no limit, sign no limit. I said, there you go. And I said, deaf people are going to hear, blind people are going to see, people who can't walk are going to throw away their canes and walkers, and everybody's going to walk. And Sue's in tears. And Christian literally told me, he says, nobody has ever taken the time to explain that to me. And so, you know, in our role as a church interpreter, sometimes we become that person that's the only contact, the only conduit for any kind of spiritual, I don't want to say knowledge, but spiritual experience they can have. And, you know, there's a whole bunch of different stories, you know, that have come out of, in you know, and again, it's the hearing church trying to fix the deaf problem. And it doesn't quite work that way. There's no problem in the deaf world. We know that. They don't have a problem. We have the problem. We want them to be like us. Be hearing people. And this is cultural. And it's like, no, we got to get away from that, even in church. And it becomes a matter of making sure that our clients, the deaf people, understand the truth of what's being told to them from the pulpit. And that covers anything from Baptist to Catholic to Lutheran to Muslim to whatever, to Jewish. That what is coming out of that pulpit, okay, needs to be conveyed to them. And it's scary. That's a huge responsibility if you stop to think about it. That's a huge responsibility, and that's where the prep time comes in. That's where just having this understanding.